Hello, dear one, and welcome to the Wholeness Wisdom Well. I'm your host, Lizete. This is the podcast sharing sacred wisdom and supporting soul sisters to really step up into their sovereignty, into their sacred service. And I could not be more blessed and happy to welcome our guest, which is Andrea Henning. Hello, Andrea.
Hi, Lizette. So lovely to be here now with you.
It's so wonderful that you won't necessarily see it in this order, but this is the first of the Wholeness Wisdom Well podcast of all time. And I cannot tell you what a pleasure it is to share this with my sister. This is the lady that has seen me in my most vulnerable, in my darkest, the rock that I could loyally depend on to call in the middle of the night and say, honey, I need help. So this incredible being is here with her wise self, with her loving heart. And thank you, my friend. It is an honor and a pleasure to walk with you.
Look how far we have come already.
Oh, Lordy Lord. Let us not hash out the dirty laundry just yet. So I just want, you sent me through your bio, love, and I just wanted to share that with people. Because I thought it was so beautifully written and so true. So Andrea's bio reads, building inner sovereignty and being courageously what we want to see in the world. Our purpose is a given. Aligning with it is a lifelong journey and a labor of love. There is no spiritual free pass. We need to travel through the dark night of our soul to embody the light. A journey you don't want to miss out on, a promise I dare to make now. So my sweet, what a beautiful bio that so descriptively shares what it is you do. And why is it that you dare to make this promise now that the journey is worth it? Why do you do it?
Why do I dare? It is actually that there is a gift at the end of this journey. However, when you're in it, you can absolutely not see it. That is part of the dark night of the soul. There is no clue. Like, you know, how we often can feel forward a bit, or we make a decision and then it's there. But this is so outrageous. However, if we just dare to stay with it, and this is how we can support us, yes, then it is really a ride on the rocket that somehow you have signed up for. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. You know somehow that you are meant to be doing and meant to be following, but you don't know exactly why, you don't know exactly where, and you don't know exactly how. And that is why indeed there are some guides on this journey. And that's exactly how we're serving. How would you say that you serve on this journey for those that are like, yep, I'm on a journey somewhere?
The serving, I know that everyone has their own greatness, their own magic, their own medicine. These are just also new words that I found along the way to describe what I'm doing. But I have found out that what distinguishes me from others is that I can stay where others would run.
Right.
And I don't know why. It's something that's it's not something I earned. It's something grace gave me. My curiosity always is bigger than my fear, and that makes me stay.
And that makes you so safe as well, may I add, because some of us, we think that our inner demons are so bad that we don't even ask for help, because heaven forbid if someone would actually see how exhausted I am, or how deeply this trauma has never actually left my system or been healed. They won't come to people like us because they think it's just something they've got to live with. And mainly it's because most would run, right? In the face of something uncomfortable, in the face of something unsavory, we tend to run. But what we don't understand is that behind that is such an important, precious part of us.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Incredible.
Exactly.
And so this curiosity that you have to stay, this ability to be the light in the darkest shadow. And we don't care. What do I know what I base mine on when I get there? What do you base yours on?
what do I base
That
my
courage to stay.
this courage to stay? Yeah, that is a very, very interesting question. Like I was telling that we all have this inner greatness. We all have an innate inner knowing, but this is in our blind spot.
Yes.
And your innate inner knowing and mine are slightly different. At the end, it comes all together, but that is a concept that doesn't help in the moment very much. Like, okay, it's all just an illusion. That doesn't help at all. But we have some inner knowing that we are born with that gives us the courage. So also like helping the other to become conscious about what is that inner knowing, so that you can get in touch with it and actually see something that is hidden inside of you. And then you can circle back to that all the time, all the time. So then when you need courage, it's not the pure courage that comes from not knowing at all, but you can circle back to your inner knowing, and that makes it less scary in the moment. Mm.
We've had so many conversations about this, you and I, about this sovereignty, this soul being that is us. We can call this a higher self. We can call this the spark of the divine, but this being that is actually truly us. And when we encounter this, which is part of, I would say, the shamanic side of the work, or the healer side of the work, but opening that portal where people can actually experience that true being and realize how real it is beyond concept, idea, avatar, but to know it's a real thing. Now, why would I not embody this? You know, why would I not embody this? This being is so wise and calm and radiant and beautiful.
Yeah, why would I not? That is a very interesting question. But also I am now referring often to like life is a path of initiations. And an initiation is when you go from one dimension to the other. But it's not just like higher dimensions, higher and higher. Yeah, you can, and then you are at the absolute, and then you think, okay, now what?
And now what? Exactly, like Capricorn, all the way up to
exactly. And it is an awesome dimension to encounter, but there's more, because then you have to descend again. Yes. And I would say why not would be the answer to that is because there is so much to discover in just having left that being or that knowing of that being behind, or you never leave it behind, but you pretend, you know how children can pretend to play hide and seek or play dad or pretend all. I think it's something like that, because there's something to experience in doing that. Right. So it's not a fault. And from the start, we were meant to reunite with that piece. But then we also have to offer something from all these experiences that without that wouldn't have been possible. So we are enriched. And this is also an initiation that I could say, like my consciousness expanded into a deep realization that we expand in consciousness to have other and new possibilities for experiences. And then we experiment. And we know how that can turn out sometimes. An experiment,
right, exactly.
It's a learning curve. And then from these experiences feed into the expanding consciousness. So it's this dance between experience and consciousness, which in Hindu spirituality is called the dance between Shakti and Shiva. But we also got a little confused because we made Shiva male and Shakti female. So our mind can get totally confused. But the realization and the inner knowing and the experience, like, oh, this is the dance. And it's a dance into eternity. And I thought for a long time, why the heck would we want to eternal life? My goodness, it's hard already. Now I can say why. And that is one of the promises that I'm telling about. Like, we all can reach the point where we get intimate with eternity, which also means that we get intimate with this form dying, and not knowing, like we can be told there's something else beyond that, but who knows? I mean, who knows? Who knows what? But there is this
Beautiful.
promise that you get familiar with all that. And I call it often, that's one of my favorite words, the magic of life, the magic of living, the magic of being alive.
Right now. I mean, one of the most powerful mantras, I think, was waking up one day and noticing I get to live this life today.
Yeah.
You know, whatever's in it, just the fact that I get to live it, which is just one of those beautiful orgasmic awarenesses that's useful. But of course, we don't stay there, you know, so we have these peaks.
Yeah.
We can connect, what they say, ascension, right? But we're not ascending, we're just connecting to the highest of our consciousness.
Yeah.
But then it's the question of bringing it in and living that life, and not even taking our role so seriously, but having that lightness of being. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful, hun. So the journey and a guide that you are, because you've been on the journey. Everyone has a unique journey, but there's always very similar initiations, tests, traps, and so on. Beautiful. We talk about sovereignty, just to kind of close this. So the sovereign self versus the programmed self, or the trapped self, the caged self, like, oh my God, I have to respond this way. It's not the highest of me, but right. It is a journey that we must become, because if we try to do this through the mental, right, it's not going to work. So how is this different from life coaching, hun? Just to be clear.
Life coaching.
I used to call myself a life coach for years.
So, yeah, okay. Fortunately, I never called myself that. However, I mean, everything depends on what is the place it's coming from. So also someone who calls themselves life coach or life coaching as such, when it comes from this place of knowing of this sovereignty, of the sovereign beings that we are, which also means that we know where we are not, that knows where we are programmed. And oh my God, this programming goes also as far as you can imagine. That is what initiation also is about, to like just find another programming and like being conscious of it so that it can be solved.
It can heal.
Yeah, unravel. Yeah, exactly. So as long as it's coming from this place, you can do anything. You can call it life coaching, you can call it spiritual coaching, you can call it ascension coaching, you can call it not coaching at all. Words always fall short.
Right.
And therefore, what we are looking for is like, are you being what you say? And this is what the feminine can do very, very, very well. Are you it? Are you embodying what you pretend? And you don't need to be perfect.
Right.
Because on the contrary, we are this ever, as soon as someone thinks that they have it figured out perfect, run away from them.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Because there also always comes a certain point where your students or people that you are guiding, that they have a piece that you are looking for. Exactly. And then they become your teachers.
Sure.
So it's this beautiful that also a dance where the quote of Ram Dass says, we are all just walking each other home, that has this equanimity in itself.
Exactly.
So there's not so much a difference. It's more like the place where it's coming from. Is it authentic? Is it embodied? And we need to sense into that.
Beautiful. You know, I know that those listening and watching us can, those that are in this podcast and hopefully just enjoying the ride, I hope that they can really feel your radiance and feel your presence, and know that this is a present state of authenticity, joy, presence. Yes, focus. And that all of us can do that with the decision, right? With that awareness. But then the journey is falling away from that. Now, you haven't always lived here, and I know for everyone's journey, the form is not so important, but I think your journey has just been so beautiful, can you share a little bit about what you do in the world and where your journey has taken you in kind of summary, like where you started and where you are now?
Maybe the briefest arc would be, I studied tropical agricultural engineering, which is actually a systems thinking. You see the complexity of ecosystems there. I am an engineer in erosion control and irrigation. However, when I was living in Peru, I saw that the decisions that were made were not made out of like would be the best decisions for us, for you, for the future, for the climate. On the contrary,
for nature, yeah,
just for nature, just stupid. Just like
money.
How could anyone who understands it make these kind of decisions? Short term, I mean, all the stuff that we know, we see these decisions all around us. All, but that was the moment that I become more interested in where decision making comes from, and as I say, I'm more curious than I'm judgmental. So it came from a deep curiosity of that, and then this journey brought me from there to actually becoming a trainer coach, whether it's life coaching or not. and from there, it brought me into working a lot with teams and collaboration and getting things done together in a meaningful way with a purpose. And then this led me into leadership. And so the four morphed into it. And now it's like this combination of all. And we have created with Tiara International, my company, we have created a model actually of leadership, like you and I work together because it's so compatible.
Absolutely.
That brings it all together in a meaningful way so that it's also comprehensive and becomes practical. We also refer sometimes to practical spirituality.
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, I have to get out of my bed every morning again, and do my stuff. You have not a free pass. There's no spiritual free pass. As evolved and conscious as you are, as we know, there's no free pass.
That's right.
You'll have to face the day to day.
Yes,
only you can experience. Face it. Yeah, exactly. And draw there from curiosity. What kind of initiation is in that?
That is beautiful, my love. You know, and I love that because, and that's exactly why I share with it, because even though we speak of consciousness and expansion, and it can seem esoteric and spiritual in nature, it actually is a very practical day-to-day experience. And that's what both of you and I stand for. I always knew there was no point in spirituality if I don't get to experience it in everyday experiences of who I am being.
Yeah.
So it should be a practice of about embodying that love that I am, right? Or the higher self that I am, but being able to implement it in everyday life. And that leads us into real jobs, into real businesses, into real families, into real dynamics. And the question becomes then, how do I leverage my sovereignty to create a great thing, to create a better outcome? But I just heard in your story now, a whole new compatibility between you and me that I actually had never registered before. And that is indeed the engineering side of it, right? And because my whole teaching model is based on the ecosystem that is natural that I observed in the 2.5 years living in Costa Rica in the jungle. So watching Mother Nature and knowing that Mother had kind of all the answers if we would observe her and notice that no matter our potential as a sovereign being, if we're not fully supported with our ecosystem in wholeness, we are going to struggle. So if we have any development to do, it's getting those structures in place.
Yeah, exactly.
Is nurturing that being that is us. And on that, of course, I hope to be a guide as well as you.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I'd love for us to talk about our next step, our collaboration that we're doing, because yes, you are still doing your tiara work and of course working with teams and all sorts, but you've also decided to join as a partner and friend on this journey of Woman Leader Rise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we are creating a new collaboration model, which I absolutely love, because what I saw when I envisaged that program was I want to lead and guide and actually create the community, because it's a community that moves through a journey, and there's these critical milestones that we know are going to be needed, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So in this journey, in this as we flowing through, I've invited 12 of my closest friends, partners, masters that master their own modality. And they're going to be serving their magic into the program and offering their services within the community. So as people are being guided through their journey, and it's that self-discovery of that sovereign being, and what is in the way of being that, and what are the structures I need to stay that. There's of course all these partners that bring their unique magic, right? That unique thing. And one of the guidances was only invite people that have actually made a difference in my journey of wholeness, because as teacher, I'm always student at the same time, and we all need each other, which is so beautiful. So my love, when you think of your modality and this collaboration, what kind of magic will you be bringing for the community and for your community?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to also be exposed to the magic of all these other 11 masters, because I truly think that we are entering a whole different time, where we have crystallized our brilliance in a way that it can be that we create jewelry together.
Yes. Yes.
And so I know your magic, and I know that the one thing that I bring that you don't find a lot in other places has to do with us being the paradox, So I would love to bring my ability to bring out your true central life's theme. For instance, it's so boring, you could say, once you got it, like your whole life, my whole life is around one theme. There's a lot of things around it and we circle around it, but there's one core. And why is that important? Because this theme, this life's theme, is showing itself as two sides of the same coin. It shows itself in our greatest knowing and deepest trust, and in our biggest fear. And when I say biggest fear, there are people who do not even know the emotion of fear. And then I say, you have a heck of a survival system, because we all have this shadow side that we try to live with. Right. And that feeds into our survival mechanism. So I can clarify just by listening and asking the questions that I know to ask, to make you aware and conscious about your life theme. What is it that your inner power is, like tell a fish what water is, that you yourself just are born with and don't know that it's something special. And then how you use this inner power also in a different way, in a twisted way that we call our hidden arrogance, for your survival system. And then your personality cannot fool you anymore as much as before, because you are aware of your whole incarnation blueprint, I would say there. And we can do this in all shapes or forms. We can do this in a conversation and just taping the conversation. We could do the whole thing, which is a labor of love of mine. I cannot do too many of that, like the whole blueprint. But often, especially people who are in a program like yours, or ours, I could better say,
yes,
and have done a lot of things, that they don't need a lot. They can just be pointed towards it, and then it just downloads in your system.
I totally agree. I couldn't agree more, because we have been collecting pieces of our blueprint over so many years now, right? Like little pieces. But that core, what is that core that keeps flipping? And I know for a long, long time, like I could not figure out what my core was. There was little points to it. And I would have to say that my core of what kept me stuck in feeling the, because what I would say stuck, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when are we looking at it from a core perspective, the way I see it is like, what stops me from expressing the real truth of what's going on with me? Okay, so there's a belief that I have to express it a certain way, and then there's the true expression.
Exactly.
And for me, it was all around self-worth. It's like, can I be openly as bold and as articulate and clear of what I stand for, or how much do I play it down and just serve? Because I'm so scared to offend. I'm so scared to, I love you so much that I don't want to scare you. And so then I would just become this mini version of me and feel frustrated because they didn't understand what I was talking about.
Exactly. You played small.
Right.
And I would say, instead of being stuck, it's like you are caught in a loop.
Very good.
Because we then think that we are moving, but we are just entering the other loop. Like one of my teachers said, I'm still confused, only on a higher level. Yeah. So it's this loop that is showing up over and over again. And then for you, it points to self-worth and not wanting to be big and stand for something. And then the beautiful thing in our arrogance is we think that it's about the other, but just think like, what can come back? You can be like,
yeah.
So where's the real fear there?
Right. It's not even about the other. It's totally about.
It totally comes back to us, all of us. And the beautiful thing, really, and I say that really from bottom of my heart, is that we are all freaking brilliant manipulators in our survival mechanism.
Yes,
all of us.
Yeah, we manipulate ourselves.
Yes, and this is where we get stuck in the loop, in an algorithm that we want to break free from. Really?
I'm with you. Yeah, we do. Yes, we do. And I love the modality, because you say it's about asking the questions to ask. And I cannot tell you, in my whole life, I felt like I've been asking many questions, seeking many answers. And I was just waiting for the answer and looking for the answer. And then one very wise, I can't even remember who said it. Maybe it was by my high self, and it was an idea. I don't remember. But one of the pivotal points was, the answers of the universe are infinite. You have to ask the right question. I say, you got the right question, then you've got the right answer for you, because every single answer is so individual. So I love that. Even in my meditations, this is not about creating an image that we want you to take on. It's about you finally getting to that deeply honest and truthful place of feeling, where with the right question, you can truly know your truth.
Exactly. And you know what? You just inspired me to a great question, which is, what would be the question if you could get the answer to, you are too scared to ask?
Right. Yeah. It's so true. It's so true, hun. And what I love about what you and I do is we both know, and this is why this is actually the basis of which I based of who I was inviting, not because I love you or because I know you, but it was because I know and love a lot of people. But the one thing that all of these 12 have, including yourself, is this ability to know that everyone they're going to serve in this community is as masterful, as brilliant, and as incredible as they are, except they are still working, yes, as we are still working on accessing the totality of that.
Exactly.
So I hope to attract people that are just waking up to this divine spark that they are, this craving for a bigger, bolder, more tranquil, calm, true life, and others that have been on the spiritual journey a very long time and still being able to unpack and uncover these incredible service that we are, the incredible sovereignty of our soul, and the joy that we are, right? And the expression we want to be in the world, because heaven knows this world needs it right now. We need each and every one of us. Yes.
Amen.
Beautiful, my love. Yes, indeed. Indeed. Well, it feels like a wrap to me. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining Andrea and I. Andrea, thank you for being here with your light, with your love, with your friendship. And we look forward to seeing you on our next episode. And if you're curious about the Woman Leader Rise, all the links are below. Much love. Speak soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.